Okay, guys. So I know you know about this explosion that happened in Boston yesterday and also the Iran 7.8 quake that happened today. I want to share with you some really, really bizarre patterns that I found that have to do with this. The first thing is that I had a vision in March, on March 21st. Or I'm sorry, I can't even think right now. On March 14th, I uploaded this vision right here. And in the vision, Jesus took a piece of chalk and a small chalkboard, and he turned the chalk sideways, and he smeared it all over the chalkboard. And then he drew two circles. Well, my first thought when I saw him smearing the chalk all over the chalkboard was smoke. For some reason, I just thought it was billowing smoke. And then he drew the two circles. Now I think that he must have been, or maybe he was describing these two explosions that happened in Boston. But here was the second thing that he showed me. He showed me the chalk colliding, and then the next night he showed the same thing, except this time with a dry erase board. And the two markers that you use on a dry erase board, he showed them colliding in the air, just like this right here. And what it made me think of was, North Korea threatening a long-range missile, and the United States saying if that happened, they would launch a missile to intercept that missile in the air. And that's what it seems like Jesus was showing me, was two missiles colliding in the air. And some of you will know I've seen that vision several times. I saw it last summer as well. And so what I'm wondering is if this Boston explosion, these two explosions, is a precursor to a missile collision. Okay, but here's the other thing. Some people had mentioned when they saw this video that there was someone else that had a vision that was similar, only in that person's vision, on YouTube, he uploaded it to YouTube, in that person's vision, the two circles were two giant earthquakes that occurred off the west coast of the United States. So what I'm wondering is if this vision ties into the Boston explosion in order to tell us that a large quake is coming up. Okay, but there's more. The first thing that I noticed was that both of these events happened on the window for Omer day 21. So the counting of the Omer is what the Jews do after Passover. So you can read about it in Leviticus 23. Here's the standard Jewish calendar right here. They celebrated Passover in March. And they celebrated it on the evening of the 25th until the evening of the 26th was Passover. And then the day after Passover was the first day of the counting of the Omer day 1. And that was the evening of the 26th until the evening of the 27th, Omer day 1. On my calendar, you know that I take into consideration both the new moon and the first crescent. So my days are, instead of being a 2-day window, they're a 3-day window. So here's the window for Passover, and here's the window for Omer day 1. And the window for Omer day 21 is right here, right when we had this Boston explosion and the Iran quake. Okay, it gets even weirder. Remember in my last video I was talking about how second Passover might actually be true Passover for two different reasons. Number one, Isaiah 64:6 says that everyone, all of us, are polluted. In Numbers 9 it says anyone who is polluted should celebrate Passover in the second month instead of the first month. So the 14th day of the second month they should celebrate Passover and unleavened bread until the 21st day of the second month. Okay. If Okay, here's the second reason that this right here, okay, this is where second Passover would be according to Numbers 9, right here on the 14th day of the second month, right here, okay? But the other reason this might be true Passover is because last year we had on October 16th, 2012 was the fulfillment of Revelation 12:1 through 5. It was the sign in the heavens, and it was really rare. The next time it happens is in 2454. Extremely, extremely rare sign, and it happened then. Some people were saying that the barley harvest was late in 2012. In fact, some people were saying it was a month late, which means that if they started their first month a month late, then their seventh month should also be a month late. If that's true, and I don't know whether it is or not, but if it is, then this Revelation 12 fulfillment on October 16th, a month after the Feast of Trumpets, could actually be the true Feast of Trumpets. It happened on the first crescent of the moon. It could actually be the true Feast of Trumpets. And if it is the true Feast of Trumpets, on this chart right here, you can see, if it is the true Feast of Trumpets, then true Passover would happen right here, exactly at the same window that second Passover would occur. So those are the two reasons that second Passover might actually be true Passover, and this window of time from the 23rd to the 25th. If this is true Passover, then we can also count the Omer starting here, the day after Passover. So Omer day 21 would fall right here on Shavuot. Okay, what's the deal with 21? Why does it matter? It matters because in Daniel 10, verse 13, it says, "But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me." Okay, why does that matter? Because Michael stands up at the time of the tribulation and at the time thy people are delivered. It's the deliverance and the tribulation, just like it says in Matthew 24:15 through 22. Matthew 24:15 through 22 basically says, first you will see the abomination of desolation, then you will escape, then will be the great tribulation. Revelation 12 says, first you will see the sign in the heavens, then will be the great tribulation, basically. Michael and his angels will fight against the dragon. First you see the sign in the heavens, then you escape, then Michael fights the dragon. So Michael stands up at the great tribulation. It all ties in. See this time of trouble right here. It all ties in. So when Daniel 10 says that Michael comes to help after 21 days, well, that had me thinking. I was trying to figure it out. When do the 21 days start? After 21 days. Well, when does it start? I didn't know. But now this is very interesting. If you count from second Passover, Omer day 21 falls on Shavuot, which is Omer day 50 if you count from the original Passover up here. So this is Omer day 1 from original Passover. Omer day 50 here corresponds to Omer day 21 when you count from second Passover. Genius, right? Okay, but why does that even matter? And what does that have to do with the Great Tribulation and all of that? It ties in with the fulfillment of this vision that he showed me of the two explosions, or two circles with smoke billowing around them. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like two explosions. It seems to me like this was the fulfillment. But that tied into the vision someone else had of the two major quakes off the western coast, which also ties into this, the Iran quake happening on the same window, Omer day 21. So what I'm saying is this a warning about this time period right here? Here's the second reason I say this is a watch period for a mega quake. You guys remember I was trying to figure out when the next axis shift would happen for a while. The first time I actually predicted it to the day. I couldn't even believe it. I don't even know how that happened. Okay. But after that, it was like, okay, I think it'll happen after the March 22nd. Well, it was. It was on April 11th. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not a physicist. I can't, I don't have all the information and I can't like calculate the rate and the acceleration rate and all this other stuff and tell you the exact day because I don't even know what's causing these quakes. Nobody does. This is just an idea. But this is all we know. We know there was a 2-inch axis shift in 2004. There was a 3-inch axis shift in 2010. There was a 4-inch axis shift in 2011, or 4 to 10 inches. And then there was a series of 3 8-point quakes in 2012. The interval of time from the '04 axis shift to the 2010 axis shift was 1889 days. Divided by 5 years is roughly 377 days. From the axis shift in 2010 to the axis shift in 2011, there were 377 days. But from the axis shift in 2011 until the 3 8-point quakes in 2012, there were 397 days. So there was an interval of 377 days this first time and an interval of 397 days. So the interval increased by a factor of 20 days. So it's just an idea, but if these quakes are being caused by a large celestial object that has a magnetic portal to the sun and Earth is passing through this portal later and later each year, causing a jolt, if that's what's causing it, and I don't know that it is, but if that is what's causing it, then the next event would have to go along with, this object's rate of speed. It would have to kind of course, if this object is moving along in this direction, obviously it's not going to go backward. Okay, so that quake that we had back in February, the 8-point quake back in February, that's not it. That's not the mega-quake that we're looking for this year. Because it happened, that was back in February, and that would have to mean that this object was moving backward. That's not possible. So that's not the quake we're looking for. And this quake that happened in Japan, I also happen to think that this is only a precursor to another event that's coming up. This quake that happened, I'm sorry, I meant to say Iran. That happened we're in April. And I mean, okay, it was the 16th, it was after this date. But still, the object would have had to slow down. You see what I mean? If the object just assuming it's caused by an object, and I don't know that it is, but in order to find out whether or not it is, we look at the patterns, and the patterns have been holding over the past 3 years. That it seems like these quakes, these major quake events are happening later and later each year. So if it increased by a factor of 20 days, then maybe it will increase by a factor of 20 days again. But at the very minimum, it would go at the same rate of speed. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to slow down. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it could slow down. But it's at least going to be traveling at the same rate of speed. So this next interval would be at the very minimum 397 days. It's just a guess. I don't know. But 397 days from April 11th, the last quake event of the three 8-pointers, which scientists said was an extremely rare, unprecedented event, that 3 8-point quakes in a row. 397 days after that would be May 13th. Okay, so May 13th would be the start of the watch date for this next mega-quake event that we might have or might not have. May 13th would be the start of that watch period. And it's probably going to be after that, but I'm just saying that's the start of the watch period. So that's the start of Shavuot. Do you see do you see the patterns here? So first we have this explosion on Omer day 21 and a major quake on Omer day 21. Then we find out the true Omer Day 21 might be down here on Shavuot. And we find out that this vision that I had is being fulfilled with this Boston explosion, but that has a connection to an LA quake that somebody else saw in a vision, all happening on Omer Day 21, which corresponds to this right here, which is Shavuot, which also lines up with the first major watch date for this next Megaquake. That's all. I just wanted to tell you guys that. It's weird. I don't know what it means. For all I know, the next Megaquake could happen this weekend. I mean, nobody knows. Nobody knows when it's going to happen. No one knows where it's going to happen. But I just feel like I need to say this because I have so many people, so much friends and family living in Los Angeles. I have to say this. Okay, Los Angeles is probably the worst place that you could live on the planet. And here's the reason why. And I know geologists have been warning about the big one for decades. I've been saying the big one's coming, the big one's coming. But this is what they're not telling you. They're not telling you that the entire twin counties of Los Angeles and Orange County is built on sand that accumulated in a crack between two tectonic plates. It's called an accretionary wedge. And that crack, those is between two plates that are moving and sliding in opposite directions. And it's built on a slope that goes into the ocean, and there's a cliff that drops off right off the coast. Okay, so if you're in Los Angeles, you're living on sand that is on a slope that drops off of a cliff just off the coast of the ocean. Okay, you've got sand, water, cliff, sand on a slope into the ocean off a cliff. What happens when those two plates jolt in a large jolt? And that's what the scientists are saying. They're saying this large jolt is coming. It's coming. It's been building and building. Scientists are saying this. For decades they've been saying it. It's the big one. Get ready for it. The big jolt. It's going to be a landslide, you guys. Look, I saw it in a vision. And I know that a lot of you guys are like, well, so what? My dreams and visions come true, and I finally have proof of that on YouTube. I've known it since I was a teenager, but now I have proof on YouTube. And you can watch my playlist, Proof the Visions Come True, that these dreams and these visions are coming true after I see them. I have had so many dreams and visions of the Los Angeles tsunami and earthquake, I can't even count. A really bad event. And my heart is there. I have a big chunk of my heart there. My friends and so many of my friends and family live there. I lived there 10 years. And I have to tell you this. I have to say, look, we're going into a watch period of a megaquake, and this time it could be the Los Angeles big one. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's going to be New Madrid. Maybe it's going to be somewhere else. But remember Joe Brandt, the kid from the 1930s that had the series of dreams. He saw the Los Angeles earthquake. He even saw it slide into the ocean. There are all these other people that have seen it as well in their dreams and visions. The reason his dreams were so bizarre, they were published in like the 60s. It was because he had these dreams in the 1930s, okay? And it was in such extreme detail. I mean, he described these little tiny half cars. He described a big television screen on Hollywood Boulevard. That wasn't even there until a couple of years ago. Those of you that live in Los Angeles will know that what I'm talking about. There's a big screen now on the corner of Hollywood and Highland. He described people wearing costumes on Hollywood Boulevard. They never used to do that before. It's only been in the last couple of years. I don't know how many years, but it's only been in the last, 5, 6, 10 years. I don't know. Last couple of years. I mean, the book was published in the 60s. It's only been in the last couple of years that they've had these actors that go out in front of the Man's Chinese Theater, just like a block away from Hollywood and Highland. A couple blocks, whatever, I can't remember anymore. But anyway, it's right there. And they stand out there and they're wearing these costumes. And Joe Brandt, in his dream, described a guy wearing these earrings in both ear, and he said that look in his dream, in the book, he said that just didn't seem normal to me, and he said it really seemed like the person was wearing a costume. But here's what he said. He said it didn't seem like Halloween though. He said it seemed like springtime. And I know for a fact that one of the characters on Hollywood Boulevard that stands out there in costume is from the movie Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's exactly what he looks like. He has those two big earrings. And yeah, it's definitely a costume. And it just freaks me out. And there's so many other things that freak me out. And if you guys don't think it's possible for a giant landslide like that to happen, I'm telling you it did. I have footage of it in one of my old videos. I have a playlist called Dreams and Visions, and I have a video in there on the Los Angeles landslide. I think I have a couple of them, and one of the videos starts out with me talking in it, but then the rest of the video, more than half the video, is just all news footage of landslides. And at the end, there's this footage of this giant landslide that they had in Italy. All these beautiful mansions on the side of the hill, and it's just it's just sliding. Everything is just the whole thing is just sliding down the hill. And you see this Mercedes Benz go flying by, and somebody's screaming at the top of their lungs. And I'm telling you, if you think it can't happen, I feel so, so sorry for you, because it can happen and it will happen. Because Los Angeles is on sand that's on a slope going into the ocean and dropping off a cliff. It will happen, you guys. It doesn't matter how well the buildings themselves are built if they're only built on sand. Anyway, I'm done. I just needed to tell you guys that. That's all. It's just bizarre. I don't know what it means. We're going into a mega quake watch period, and all this other stuff as well. The start of the Great Tribulation, the Rapture, everything. It's all coming up, and so that's my update. I hope you guys are doing well, and I'll let you go. Bye bye.